It is 6 o'clock on a Friday evening. The kind of exhausting, bone-chilling Friday that leaves you questioning every life choice that led you to this exact parking garage. The fluorescent lights overhead flicker with a dull yellow hum. You are standing next to a concrete pillar, the distant sounds of city traffic echoing like a harsh reminder of the rat race outside. A few yards away, Koa, the senior associate who sits 2 desks down from you, hits the unlock button on his key fob. The headlights of his brand new, aggressively styled luxury SUV flash proudly, slicing through the dimness of the basement. Cole waves at you with the effortless, charismatic smile of a man who has clearly won the game of life. He slides into the pristine leather driver's seat, the heavy doors shutting with an expensive soundproof thud, and glides toward the exit ramp to start a weekend of high-end dining and curated social media moments. He looks exactly like what society tells us a successful 37-year-old professional should look like. And then, there is you. You reach into your faded jacket pocket and pull out a worn, scratched key. You step up to the exact same 2-wheeled scooter you have been riding for the past 12 years. The plastic fairings are chipped. The engine sputters aggressively before finally catching its breath. To anyone watching, the visual contrast is painfully obvious. You are the invisible employee, the guy who never upgraded, the man who is clearly losing the corporate ladder race, stuck in a state of permanent financial stagnation. You possess absolutely no designer labels, no luxury watch peeking out from your cuff, no status symbols whatsoever. You are a walking ghost in a culture obsessed with shining brightly, but there is a massive, world-altering secret hidden in the front pocket of your cheap trousers. The banking and brokerage apps installed in your cracked smartphone hold a digital truth that would completely paralyze everyone in your office, especially Koa. The quiet, unflashy net worth sitting in your accounts right now is large enough to buy Koa's luxury SUV 5 times over, in cash. Today. Without you ever needing to check your budget or lose a single second of sleep, you are not struggling. You are not poor. In fact, in this entire concrete building filled with heavily indebted high earners, you are the only person who holds any real terrifying power. How does the poorest looking person in the room secretly acquire the ultimate financial freedom? To understand the brutal psychological price of this invisible shield, we have to rewind the clock. We have to go back 12 years, to the exact moment the 2 timelines split. You are 25 years old. It is a humid Tuesday afternoon, and a notification lights up your phone. It is your very first official paycheck from the firm, $3,000. By modern standards, it is barely enough to survive the rising cost of rent and groceries, but to a 25-year-old stepping into the adult world, it feels like absolute power. It is the taste of autonomy. Koa does exactly what the system has engineered him to do. The very next day, he walks into a flagship tech store and finances the newest, most expensive smartphone available, signing a 0% interest contract that he casually justifies as a business expense. That weekend, he buys rounds of drinks at a crowded rooftop bar to celebrate his arrival into the professional class. You do not go to the rooftop bar. Instead, you sit alone on a cheap mattress in a cramped, poorly insulated studio apartment. You open your laptop, stare at the glowing screen, and make the most painful, unglamorous decision of your young life. You set up a permanent automated transfer. You build a machine. Every single month, on the 5th day, exactly 20% of your after-tax income, which is $600, is scheduled to vanish from your checking account before you even have the chance to look at it. It is forcefully funneled into a broad market index fund. It buys tiny, fractional pieces of the world's largest companies. It is boring. It is completely invisible. And in the beginning, it feels like absolute torture. For the first year, this system does not feel like a wealth-building strategy. It feels like a self-imposed prison sentence. Losing 20% of your cash flow immediately means you are always running out of money by the final week of the month. It means while Koa is ordering $20 artisan salads for lunch, you are sitting in the break room eating leftovers out of stained plastic containers. It means you are brewing cheap coffee in your kitchen at 6 in the morning and pouring it into a thermos, deliberately walking past the premium cafe downstairs where your colleagues gather to network and show off their branded cups. And what is your reward for this daily humiliation? After 12 months of relentless discipline, you log into your brokerage account. Your total balance is barely over $7,000. The dividends, the passive income you were promised, amount to a few handfuls of loose change. It is not even enough to cover a decent dinner. You look at that fragile green number on the screen, then you look at Kawa's social media feed, full of weekend getaways, new clothes, and effortless confidence. A dark, heavy doubt begins to creep into your mind. You ask yourself the question that destroys 99% of investors. Are you wasting the best years of your youth suffering for a future that might never actually come? But you do not stop. You keep your head down because you understand a fundamental truth that Koa does not. The game of wealth is not won at the starting line, and it is not won with mathematics. It is won by developing an absolute immunity to the judgment of others. 3 years later, you are 28. You and Koa have both survived the corporate grind. You both receive promotions, bumping your monthly take-home pay to $5,000. This is the exact moment the two financial clocks diverge forever. Koa feels a deep, burning need to reward himself for his hard work. He feels he has earned the right to look successful. So, he walks into a dealership and signs a 5-year loan on a premium sedan. He upgrades to a luxury high-rise apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows. His lifestyle inflates instantly, acting like a hungry monster that swallows every single dollar of his new raise. He is making more money than ever, but his actual cash flow is tighter than when he was 25. You take a different path, a harder path. You look at your new $5,000 paycheck. You are still living in the exact same cramped apartment. You are still riding the exact same scooter, and instead of upgrading your life, you manually log into your banking portal and adjust the automated transfer. You brutally increase it to $1,000 a month. You refuse to let your lifestyle creep up. You lock in your 20% savings rate. This is when the psychological tax of patience truly begins to crush you. You attend company holiday parties and stand silently in the corner while everyone discusses leather interiors, European vacations, and high-end restaurants. You have absolutely nothing to contribute to the conversation. You become a ghost in the social hierarchy. Your coworkers start looking at you with a mix of pity and confusion, assuming you are either drowning in secret debt or suffering from a pathological cheapness. You are intentionally losing the short-term status game. But late at night when the city is quiet, you open your phone. Your account has crossed $50,000. The money is silent. It does not rev its engine. It does not shine in the light, but it is there, quietly waiting. Fast forward another 4 years. You are now 32 years old. You have officially entered the most dangerous and excruciating phase of wealth building. The lonely middle. By all external metrics, your life is a picture of absolute stagnation. The plastic fairings on your scooter are now severely sun-faded. Your wardrobe consists of the same unbranded, durable shirts you bought half a decade ago. The security guard at your office building still greets you with the familiar, slightly sympathetic nod reserved for the lifers who never quite made it to the executive floor. But the reality hidden inside your phone is a completely different universe. You log into your brokerage app on a rainy Tuesday morning, and you stare at the screen. Your net worth has quietly crossed the $150,000 mark. It is a staggering amount of money. It is more cash than your parents were ever able to save in their entire lifetimes. But this number is a psychological torture device. $150,000 is far too much money to pretend it does not exist, but it is still not enough money to allow you to walk into your boss's office and quit. You are stuck in the death zone of compounding. You realize with a sudden suffocating wave of exhaustion exactly what this digital number could buy you right now in the physical world. It could buy the down payment on a beautiful modern house in the suburbs. It could buy a top-of-the-line luxury sports car in straight cash with enough left over for a month-long vacation in Europe. It could buy you immediate, undeniable, and overwhelming respect from every single person in your office. The temptation to break the machine is everywhere. Koa, who is now a senior manager, invites the team to his new penthouse apartment for a weekend dinner party. You walk into a space that looks like it belongs in an architectural magazine. There is a custom marble kitchen island. There is a sprawling view of the city skyline. Koa is pouring expensive wine wearing a heavy mechanical Swiss watch that catches the ambient lighting every time he moves his wrist. His life is a continuous, loud broadcast of financial victory. You stand in the corner, holding a generic glass of water, wearing your cheap jacket. You can feel the silent judgment of the room. You can feel them wondering why you are still at the bottom of the social hierarchy. The urge to pull out your phone, log into your banking app, show them your portfolio, or better yet, liquidate the whole thing tomorrow just to buy a watch that shuts them up, is the physical ache in your chest. But you do not do it. You swallow your pride, you finish your water, and you ride your battered scooter back to your cramped studio apartment. You are paying the personality tax. You are systematically killing your ego to feed the machine. And then the universe decides to see if you are actually serious. A global economic crisis hits without warning. The financial news cycle turns blood red, interest rates spike, supply chains collapse, and the stock market plunges straight into a brutal bear market. For the very first time in your journey, you experience the visceral, nauseating reality of watching your wealth vaporize. In just 3 weeks, your portfolio drops by 30%. $45,000. Gone. It is the equivalent of almost 2 full years of your current salary, just wiped off the screen in a matter of days. Money you sacrificed your 20s to save, vacations you never took, dinners you never ate. It all feels like it was for absolutely nothing. The panic in the office is palpable, but strangely, Koa is not panicking about the stock market. Koa does not own any stocks. Koa is panicking because the company announces a freeze on year-end bonuses, and his entire inflated lifestyle is built on the assumption that his income will always go up. His mortgage, his car loan, his credit card minimums, they do not care about a recession. The walls of his debt are suddenly closing in. You sit in the dark in your apartment. The glow of your cracked phone screen illuminates your tired face. The market is bleeding. Every financial instinct, every news anchor, every terrified voice in your head is screaming at you to hit the sell button, to salvage what is left, to stop the pain. You hover your thumb over the screen. You are one click away from turning a temporary paper loss into a permanent, devastating reality. You want to cancel the automated transfer. You want to hoard cash. Instead, you take a deep breath, and you force your thumb to close the app. You do nothing. You let the 5th of the month arrive. You let the system automatically rip another $1,000 from your checking account and throw it straight into the burning fire of the crashing market, blindly buying fractional shares of companies at their absolute lowest valuation in a decade. You trust the math over your own emotions. You endure the storm in complete silence. 3 years later, you are 35. The storm has passed. The global economy has slowly crawled out of the wreckage, and the stock market has not only recovered but surged to unprecedented all-time highs. You are sitting at your small kitchen table on a quiet Sunday morning. You are brewing the exact same cheap dark roast coffee you have been drinking for 10 years. You open your laptop. You navigate to your portfolio analytics. The number staring back at you makes your hands go completely numb. The machine has awakened. The original principle you relentlessly invested, combined with the incredibly cheap shares you bought during the crash and a decade of aggressive, uninterrupted dividend reinvestment, has finally hit the inflection point of exponential growth. You scroll down to the annual return column. The passive income, the money your portfolio generated over the last 12 months while you were sleeping, while you were watching television, while you were sitting in rush hour traffic, is now $40,000. Your money just made more money in 1 year than you did during your entire first year at the company. You take a sip of your coffee. The taste is bitter, but the feeling in your chest is pure, weightless gravity. You have successfully built a replacement for yourself. You now have 2 distinct incomes, but you only have to bleed, sweat, and stress for one of them. The other income stream works 24 hours a day. It never takes a sick day. It never complains about the weather, and it does not pay any attention to office politics. You are now wealthy on paper. You have achieved quiet wealth, but paper wealth is just a theoretical concept. A fortress of money is completely useless unless it is tested by the harsh, unforgiving realities of life. 2 years later, you are 37 years old. The ultimate test of your 12-year sacrifice arrives, not in the form of a market crash, but in the form of a corporate restructuring. The mid-sized company you have given over a decade of your life to is suddenly and aggressively acquired by a massive, ruthless multinational conglomerate. Within a matter of weeks, the entire atmosphere of the office fundamentally changes. The familiar, somewhat relaxed culture is entirely wiped out, replaced by a cold, hyper-competitive, and deeply toxic environment. Efficiency consultants in expensive suits roam the floors with clipboards, analyzing every single role, looking for ways to squeeze more productivity out of fewer people. A heavy, suffocating blanket of anxiety settles over the cubicles. People start coming in earlier and staying later, terrified of being the next name on the chopping block. Hoa is sitting 2 desks away from you, staring blankly at his monitor. Over the past 2 years, his lifestyle has continued its relentless, unstoppable expansion. He recently enrolled his children in an elite private school to keep up with the social circles of his new management peers. He financed a second luxury vehicle for his wife. He took out a massive home equity line of credit to fund a high-end kitchen renovation, convinced that his year-end bonuses would always be there to cover the ballooning minimum payments. He is a high-earning, highly respected senior manager. But beneath the designer clothes and the confident smile, he is entirely hollowed out by debt. He is running on a financial treadmill that is moving at a terrifying speed, and if he stops running for even a single month, his entire carefully curated existence will instantly collapse. Then comes the Friday afternoon that forces everyone to show their true hand. It is 4 o'clock.